Wonderful. Welcome to December, our group financial coaching session for the last month of the year. I can't believe that 2024 is wrapping up and coming to an end. Hopefully, your neck of the woods doesn't look like my background and it's not that cold and snowy yet. This is, I'm in Utah, so this is what our winters look like. It'll be coming here so shortly. So thank you for being here. It's a pleasure to have you here. Not a wonderful a privilege for me to be able to serve and hopefully help and answer questions as several of you are maybe new to the program or returning to the program or working with other coaches and I don't get to work with you directly. And so I'm going to introduce myself and we'll get this going and kick this off. But so I am Brian Halverson. I've been in the financial industry for the last 22 years, helping individuals and families to build that financial peace. So, speaking of Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace, that's a program, Financial Peace University, FPU. Taught that 16 times over an 8-year span, and then became a one of the top Ramsey coaches, where I've built a team of now 7. I got to update this slide to include and help more people. I got so busy, I said I need helpers, and I got to round up the troops. And so I have 7 other coaches that now work with me to help more people. So that's why it's fun to do this group coaching, and I get to see and get to know our larger family. There's lots of resources that are available to you all on our website, tracking sheets and guides. All of that's free to you. It's at dinwoodyconsulting.com. I also invite you to watch and subscribe to the YouTube channel that we have. It's just most of them are me. I'm going to get the other coaches to record some as well, but just trying to provide some inspiration and motivation to break out of your comfort zones and to make progress towards your goals. We're all on different steps of the journey, but we're all moving in the same direction, hopefully. And that's what we love having you all come to this the community, this group coaching program so that we can learn from each other. There are my coaches. Some of those faces might look more familiar than others. And it's fun to, I think some of them had enrolled for tonight, so we might see some of them join a little later. At the beginning of every group coaching session, I level set us and remind us all about the baby steps. These are the Dave Ramsey 7 baby steps. So just to clarify, you may have heard these a million times. If you've been on previous group sessions, you hear this every time, but this helps us to level set us all on the same language. Baby step 1, the very first step, wherever you are, you got to know where to start. Baby step 1 is to get your $1,000 in your beginner emergency fund. We know that $1,000 doesn't go very far. It's not meant to. It's just meant to take the edge off so that when we're moving towards our other baby steps, if something happens and we have an emergency, we don't reach for the credit card, we reach for the savings account. So that's why we want that first $1,000. Then we move to baby step 2. Stop saving, transition, now start paying off your debts. All of your debts, your student loan, your credit card, the pool loan, the car loan, the payday loan, the loan to your family member, everything. Not the house. Not the house. That comes later. But we're going to pay off all of our debt. Some of my clients have a rental property. That's a baby step 2, not a baby step 6. Even though it's a mortgage, it's not your house. It's not your primary residence. It's in baby step 2. Get it off your back. Then we go back to saving in baby step 3, saving 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. Now there's a fully funded emergency fund that will handle larger emergencies, or if there was a job loss and I needed an income bridge from one job to the next job, that 3 to 6 months of expenses becomes critical so that I can survive between one job and the next. I'm not so desperate that I just take any job. I can find the right jobs because I have that 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. Then baby step 4 is to invest 15% of your income into your retirement. That is such a critical step. Every time I do the math with my clients, it's just such an eye-opening experience because time is the one thing we can't get back. And we need that time, the time value of money. The longer you have, the easier it is, but it's never too late. But the earlier that we can start in saving 15% of our income into retirement, it just looks like a ski jump. And we want to have as many years as possible to be able to maximize our return. Baby step 5 is to save for kids' college. Baby step 6, to pay off the house early. And baby step 7 is to build wealth and give. That's the ultimate step we want to get to is baby step 7. And in order to build wealth and give, Dave Ramsey says, we want to live and give like nobody else, which means we have to now live like nobody else. So that's living the 6 baby steps so that we can get to 7. And it's an amazing place to get to arrive at, where you can be such a blessing to other people and see a need and solve the need and help somebody, whether that's paying their utility bill or providing Christmas for them or Thanksgiving dinner or whatever. It's just an amazing opportunity to give back and be a blessing. So before I move off, I just always want to again pause and check in. What are your thoughts? Any questions? Any concerns? Any rebuttals of I don't like that step? And what can I change the order? Let's talk about it. So what's on your mind when it comes to the 7 baby steps?
Well, the only thing else I've got to say, I'm new to this group, so I don't know how it all
Yeah.
works, but I'm 82, my wife is 62, and we are probably in we're at step 7, I think. That's what
Huh.
we decided when we spoke with Jenny, is that her name?
Yeah.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah, we spoke with her and she took us through the steps.
Excellent.
And but there's still some issues that I need to address. So that's
Yeah.
what brings us here.
That's good. Excellent. Excellent. That's great. Congratulations for being at baby step 7.
Thank
And
you.
there's still things to do.
Oh
I have
yeah,
clients who say, "Oh, but budgeting will be easier when I get to baby step 7."
no, I'm getting ready to retire probably in July of, and I'm still working at 82. So again, and my wife still works, but she's much younger than me, and and retirement is right on our snapshot right now. It's right there right now. We're talking, trying to make sure that we got ourselves positioned as good as we can. So that's it. I'll
Excellent.
shut up now and not try to.
No, this is perfect. Love it. Love the comments. Thank you. It it just illustrates, right? You're living evidence that you still have to budget even when you're on baby step 7. When you're 82, you still got a budget. You still got a plan. We still have to live within those goals and those plans. I always say you can have anything you want, you just can't have everything you want. So we got to decide, what do we want? And even if we are at baby step 7, are we stable? And will we outlive our money? Or what's the plan? How do I leave a legacy? Those are great questions to have that I want to get to with every one of my clients. And they might be at baby step 0, hoping to get to the $1,000. Everybody's on this path, but you're never done. You're always living these principles, even when you're at baby step 7. So that's
Well,
excellent.
we've been at all the steps, so that's all I'll say. It's not, and we've been at all the steps to get to step
Excellent.
7. So
Yeah. And it's interesting. Depending on where everybody else is, thank you for that being that inspiration tonight, Bill, is to help like, hey, they did it. I can get to 7 as well. They can do it. I can do it. We can do this. It's just one step at a time. We just got to make the progress. And it's interesting that I see as I walk my clients through these steps, sometimes they struggle more on one step than another. And I literally had a client that paid off $60,000 worth of debt in 1 year. And then the next year, they could only save 10,000. Like, what happened to you? You fell off the wagon. 60 1 year and 10 the next. What happened? Well, we realized that saving was boring, was their answer. So there's a lot of psychology behind this. It's easy. This is the logical steps. Just follow the steps. It's easy, right? Until my emotions get in the way. And all of a sudden, retirement and how long is my saving going to last? How do I get out of debt? How do I build my savings? How do I invest? How do I save for college? Every one of these steps is so much more about our behavior and our emotions than the numbers and the math. The math is the easy part. But if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And then what happens is our emotions get in the way. And so you'll know this about me is I have a very heavy psychology kind of brain behavior spin on my coaching. It's not just the math. There's so much emotion. And we're going to talk about that because it's Christmas time. And man, this month is filled with emotion. And if we let that emotion run wild, our budget goes crazy. So, any other thoughts or questions about the baby steps? All right, let's dive in then. At the beginning of every session, I always follow up from the last session. There's always homework. You'll see it with your coaches or with working with me. I always assign homework. because that's where we make the progress in between the sessions. We want to make sure that you're actually taking progress and taking action in between. So last month we had the topic was take back control of your finances. Sometimes in life we get to the point where we just kind of feel maybe out of control and things are just happening to us instead of me happening. I'm not driving my hands are off the wheel. I'm sliding in the snow. We got to take back the control of our finances. So if you were here last time, I want you to share with the group, what did you try out? How did you apply what you learned? What you did as a result of attending group financial coaching last month. Now, if you were not here, that's okay. I want you to think about a success or a win that you have had over the past month. Celebration is one of the key elements of success, the science of success. You've got to celebrate because that gratitude and that celebration teaches your brain that was a good thing. Let's do more of that. Let's do that again. Think about a child learning to walk. You're cheering just because they stood up. They didn't even take a step. They stood. You're just cheering the heck out of it. And the kid's like, I don't know what I did, but I think I'll do some more of that because it's making mom, dad crazy. It's awesome. So we want to celebrate with you and think about if you were not here last session, think about a success or a win that you've experienced in your own personal journey. It could be financial, it could be otherwise. We just want to celebrate with you. So what did you try out or what is something we can celebrate with you? Sometimes the wins and the successes are a learned behavior of stopping to smell the roses. And we sometimes life just becomes normal and we forget what a miracle life is. And so we have to stop and count our blessings and say, you know what? A win, I showed up for coaching tonight. I'm starting even at 82. I'm doing this at any age. So what are your successes and wins or what did you learn from or try out from last month? Kim, you came off of mute. What would you like to share?
Yes, I'll say that the success I had was I had a Capital One credit card bill that had ballooned last month to over $700. And I managed before the end of that month to pay that whole bill off before I moved into December. I had to do my side hustle, which is Uber, but I was determined to get that bill paid off, and I did.
Excellent job. That's awesome. Congratulations. And that's awesome. And it's a tribute, right? I hustled. I had a
Mhm.
goal.
Yes,
Man, I was driven. And you cranked it out and you beat the buzzer. You beat the deadline. You got it paid off. Excellent.
yes.
Very good. Congratulations. What else? Everybody else, what successes and wins have you had over this past month? It might be something you've paid off, as in Kim's case, that you paid off a bill. Sometimes I always watch with my clients the mindset, and hopefully that is one of the greatest wins that you see is the mindset shift that my some of my clients have said my tastes are changing. I don't want the same things as I used to want. My priorities have changed. I'm changing from the inside out. And that leads to lasting change. It's not just a quick fix and just pay it off and then I just yo-yo back into the debt, but my heart changes. Who I am is changing. So hopefully you're seeing that along the way and feeling that shift. And that is one of the most significant wins. It doesn't have a financial number attached to it. It's nice to celebrate the $700. Where I had another client, one of my clients last night, they got a bonus at work and they're going to be able to pay off the last of that student loan this month. So they're really excited to get that stupid student loan off their back. There's a number to it. But the bigger win that she shared last night was we think about this all the time. We're so excited to pay this stuff off. We're working together. We've never been so connected in our relationship. Money's not a stress anymore, and we're finally winning. Imagine that. If you're not feeling that right now, know that there is hope. There are people out there that are just maybe a couple of steps ahead of you and they are experiencing that financial peace. Some of you even have said the budgeting has become fun. I don't know what they're talking about, right? So we're gonna it is real, right? We're all human. We all have our weaknesses and our strengths. We can all do this. We can win and start making this progress.
Uh, Dave, while I was on mute, my wife mentioned to me my granddaughter reached out and said that my great grandson wanted a 750, he's like 10, $750 baseball bat for Christmas. And we said no. Now I felt guilty, and but my wife and we talked about it, and
No guilt.
no guilt for her, but I did feel a little guilty. But I just wanted to share that it was, it isn't always easy to make that decision. To There's so many other things that the 750. I mean, there's bats in the bag. Pick one out. He's not like going to be in the major league. So
Yeah, is
anyway,
it signed by Babe Ruth? What happened with this bat?
no, it's just a baseball bat. Yeah. So
I
anyway,
love it. That's
share that.
good example. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Just the having the courage. We're going to talk about that tonight. How do I hold my budget? Is Christmas budgeting actually possible? It might take some saying no to people that we love. Like great grandchild, and he wants this bat, and I love them to death, but love is not measured by presents or money. And so we said no. And it's interesting. It was hard for one, and maybe not as hard as for the other.
Well,
But it's that she's what,
she's
Bill?
a she's been a Dave Ramsey fan. She is listens to his everything Dave Ramsey. So
Yeah.
again, she has really been the Dave Ramsey in our family. Now we got you guys, but she she learned a lot.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, and it's not complicated, but it can be hard. Then we're going to talk about those boundaries and how do I have success. This month is a critical month, and it will test and try your resolve to change your life financially. Every one of us is here because we want to experience change and new results and a new level of life. So this is the one of the months that's going to test that. All right, so let's talk about this Christmas budgeting. Is it even possible? Right? So tis the season. Maybe you're feeling that tis the season for stress. Maybe it's the season for breaking your budget or maybe for overspending. But does it really have to be? So what are my options? And how do I break this cycle? That's what we're going to talk about tonight. So I love that you're very come off your mics and share, or you can also put it in the chat. I forgot to mention that. You can put it in the chat and communicate that way. I'll watch um, for any messages that we're getting in the chat, so you can talk and share, and that you can talk with each other or talk with me all through the chat window at the bottom of your Zoom window. All right, so let's figure this out. How do we budget this month? Because this month, again, like I said, it might be one of the harder months because of all that emotion that we've talked about. So where does all this holiday stress come from? Right? Maybe it's lots of activities, right? It's a busy month. Parties, events, concerts, you name it, grandkids, great grandkids, spouses, there's work parties, there's all kinds of things. It's a busy month. There's lots of things to shop for, right? Everything's on sale. Black Friday kicks it off, and all we go. Cyber Monday, and man, shopping, tis the season, right? Why do they call it Black Friday? Because finally those companies are in a profitable stage. It took them 11 months to get there, and they need you to spend. They're counting on you spending because they need your money because they might have been taking a loss all year long. So we've got gifts for every family member and every neighbor, friend, family, your chiropractor, your dentist, your cousin's uncle's roommate, extended family. Some of you have large families, so there's always people to shop for, and the time is also definitely a stressor. There's just too much to do and not enough time to do it. You got to cram this all in. We're going to have a month of excess often, right? Parties and food and just events and lots of fun. It's a great month, a lot of fun. I don't mean to be the Scrooge or the Grinch on Christmas. It is going to test us and try us, and it can cause a lot of that stress. So I've got some teenagers in my life, and we're trying to teach them how to drive. And boy, is it stressful, especially for me. I had to fire myself. I said, I'm done. I cannot be in the car with a teenager as they start to learn to drive because it's too anxiety. I'm too freaking out when they drive it. So I fired myself. It's their mom's turn. She gets to teach them how to drive. So why is it so stressful? Well, maybe there's lots of rules to be aware of. It's high stake. There are costly errors. There's lots of logistics to worry about. There's a whole new language, right? All these signs and pictures, like what? I don't know if I've ever seen that picture before. Okay, there's There's all kinds of things. We've got to be hyper aware when we drive. But once you learn those rules of the road, right, driving isn't so scary anymore. Are you as nervous as you were when you were 16 learning to drive, or however where you were when you were driving? That's like I do it in my sleep almost, right? I remember getting out of my driveway and I remember showing up to work, but I don't remember how I got here. But obviously I got here. I didn't get a ticket and I didn't run over the curb or right, but I got here somehow. Now it's just second nature, it's just muscle memory. So it's learning the rules and you've learned to master that. Now, maybe this is too telling for you for myself, but maybe yours looks like this as well. But when you go to the kitchen, do you have a junk drawer where everything just gets lumped in there? Where's the batteries? I don't know. Check the junk drawer. Where's my keys? I don't know. Check the junk drawer. Where's this? I don't know. Check the junk drawer. So often where the stress comes from is just that lack of organization. That would stress me out. Like what am I looking for? Like what are those? Where's Waldo? What are we gonna find in this picture? So maybe what would it might look like if it was the one on the right? I don't know whose house that is. That's not my house. I got too many kids and too much junk in the kitchen drawers. But we can get organized. We can get set those boundaries. Everything has a place, everything in its place. Right. And so it's some people like the tidying up, the getting organized, setting those boundaries. Does anybody else's kitchen look like they're like that, or am I the only one? Maybe every drawer.
We
Hopefully
can't
not.
even agree if
Just
we've
one.
got one of those junk drawers or not, so I'm not going to comment.
We're just yeah, not an anonymity, right? It's we protect the guilty. All right, so let's talk about the steps for success then. How do we? I want it to be very practical and applicable for you guys investing in your time here tonight, and share this with friends and with family, and just spread the word because they can learn from this as well. After this recording, I'll post it on our YouTube channel and anybody can go and see that and benefit from it. But what are the successes or the steps for success this month? All right, we talked about it, setting clear boundaries. So first off, we need to create a budget for Christmas. I don't remember which baby step the budget was. Does anybody remember what baby step the budget was? Create the budget? It wasn't one. Good question. It's baby step 0. That's how you get your first $1,000. That's how you get out of debt. That's how you build your savings to 3 to 6 months. It's how I invest. It's how I pay off my house. It's how I get my kids to college. It's even there in baby step 7. I've got to learn the budget. So we need to create a budget for Christmas. So maybe just think silently, raise your hand. Are you ready? Do you have a budget for this month for Christmas? Or do you just wing it? A lot of clients I meet, they say, yeah, I have no idea what I spent last year and I have no idea how much I'm going to spend this year. I'm just going to wing it and pray, cross my fingers. And then in January, try not to look at the credit card statement or the emergency fund and hope I made it, right? That's a dangerous plan. Just going to hope. Here's an idea. Maybe I even break it into different categories. I'll have subcategories underneath my Christmas budget. Maybe I break it out into gifts. There's the obvious one. Maybe I could also have a one for parties, one for eating out, for travel, for whatever I'm doing this month. All of those could be subcategories in your budget this month. But it still has to fit within your overall budget, right? This is the math. And I always say the math doesn't care. So if I make $1,000, my entire budget, including Christmas, has to fit inside that $1,000. If it's $10,000, my Christmas budget and eating out and groceries and the mortgage and everything, my normal life, everything has to fit inside that overall budget. One key is to remember that Christmas is not an emergency. You knew this was coming all year long. Emergencies usually are what springs up and, whoa, what the heck? I forgot about that. Or the tire blew. There was an emergency. Medical stuff. There's an emergency. But Christmas, I'll give you the public service announcement. It's going to happen again next year, next December. So we're going to do it again. So now you've been warned. It's not an emergency. Now you can start planning for it. It's not an excuse to you to overspend because of it's Christmas, right? We got to do it. It's Christmas, and that's how you show the love, is the Christmas and the gifts. And that sounds like a commercial we've been listening to, right? You got to spend it. It's not any reason to carry debt into the new year. So if you're not prepared, it can be a really hard month. Yeah, and holding to that and living that, oh, it's going to be tight this year because how much discretionary income do I have? Now you might stop and pause your baby step two, your whatever your debt snowball or saving or all your hopefully as you work, how do I get to baby step seven? I've got to run towards my goals. You all set your own pace. You can walk, you can run, but you set the pace and you start moving towards your goals. You start cranking down, save the 1,000, crank it down, pay off your debt, crank it down, save your 3 to 6 months, crank it down, do your investing. Maybe some people might let up on the gas a bit this month and say, okay, I wasn't ready. Live and learn. I learned my lesson. I'm going to redirect some of my debt snowball money to Christmas. That's a choice. It will slow you down. You'll be in debt longer. So it's either that or not have a Christmas. Ooh, there's a tough choice. So you guys get to decide your pace as you walk and run and towards your baby steps. Some of my clients will take 3 years to get through baby step two, and some of them are saying, "No, I'm going to hustle. I'm going to get 3 jobs, and I'm going to eat beans and rice, and I'm going to be done in 6 months." Make sure that your pace is sustainable, because sometimes we swing the pendulum too far one way, and I went beans and rice, and I literally had a client in Virginia. She went crazy intense saving out of debt, built up $125,000 in her savings account, got so tired of it that she started world traveling. And I'm going to Paris this week. I'm going to this. I'm like, okay, you broke the dam, and now she's spending all of her money because she got so tired because her pace was not sustainable. So we got to watch that pace. Communicate your boundaries and be ready to be pushed on them by those that love you the most. Come on, why aren't you like, come on, why don't you come with me? Or why don't you spend this? Or it's our grandchild and he's never going to get in the major leagues unless you buy him a baseball bat. You ruined his life career being a major leaguer. Well, watch those boundaries because they will be tested this month and communicating them lovingly because this is where again, my heart goes out to you. If you have family members that this is like, I've had clients that say, no, I will buy a present for my sister and I will use my grocery money to do it because if I don't, I will never be able to, the relationship, right? I'll never let me live it down. All this terrible therapy kind of answers to get through. So some of those boundaries can be very difficult and they will be tried and tested. This term, one of my clients coined this phrase of flexible structure. Sounds kind of like an oxymoron because I want to have a structure. I want to be organized. There's dividers in that tray in my junk drawer now. It's structured, but we also have some flexibility in there. Right? It's not rigid. I always tell people don't write your budgets in pen. There's an undo button on the computer. There's an eraser. You can change things. You can rob Peter to pay Paul. It's your budget. It's your money. You live the consequences. So we have a structure, but we do want some flexibility so we can make adjustments and not feel guilty or ashamed. And if you choose to slow down on I'm not going to do my debt snowball. I'm going to pay down and do Christmas instead. All right. Give yourself some grace. You get back on the wagon in January and you go, but it's not debt. I just redirected. I reorganized. I'm structured, but I'm also flexible. That is possible. And then one of the biggest things this month is to ignore the marketing because those companies know you are coming and it's a science to separate you from your money. I just watched the documentary on Netflix about Buy Now, the conspiracy of shopping. And so they talk about some of the marketing plans that are out there it's scientific of colors and where the buttons are and this and that dang one-click button on Amazon. They know you're coming. You have a thought, a whim, and you click it and it's on your doorstep tomorrow. So you got to watch that and just ignore them. For some people, that's worth the price of admission. Just being told you are allowed to ignore the marketing. Thank you, Coca-Cola, but no. Thank you, Target, but no. Thank you, Walmart, no. Amazon. I got a plan. My plan is to be wealthy, to have peace. And that's more important to me than anything with a bow or a ribbon. That is priceless. So you got to really watch out because the marketing just is bombarded on us. I remember as a kid getting the Sears catalog in the mail and just going through that just in like every page. Now it's just the Amazon online is the catalog. So there's so many things, bajillion things that you can buy and it's on sale. So get it. One of my clients said we were helping my grandpa clean out his house and I don't know if he was moving and they said we found two unopened blenders that he had purchased. Two brand new in the box blenders. And they asked Grandpa, why do you have two blenders? Well, it was buy one, get one half off. So it was such a good deal. I couldn't pass it up. So I bought two. Like, but Grandpa, you didn't need one. I know, but it was such a good deal. All right, ignore the marketing. I don't care that it's 10 75% off. If you don't need it, you don't need it. Don't buy it. All right, so discussion time. What are your best practices to not break the budget in December? How do you manage the stress this year? And do you have any tips or tricks that you can share with the group? This is where we get to learn and crowdsource. And sometimes people are like, "Oh, try this website or do this thing or I got this hack." And that's a great opportunity to just learn because I don't know everything, and you're all smarter than I am. But this is an opportunity. What do you all do to get through this month?
Well, I know for us, for the last 10 years, all the adults in our family decided that we aren't going to buy Christmas presents for adults. Um, so it took a lot of stress out of all our family members to do that.
Awesome.
And we much rather in the year, if somebody gets in a tight spot or needs some groceries, we can do that. Is Christmas in August?
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, generosity happens every year.
Yeah.
We maybe yeah, hopefully every month you have a budget line item for charity because that changes who we are. Some people say I'm too broke to do charity. I can't do giving. I can't do tithing. I can't do charitable giving, whatever you want to call it. I'm just too broke. Do it anyway because it changes who we are. It shows us that there's always somebody that needs it more than us. There's always somebody worse off. It makes us more grateful for where we are, changes our behavior, our psychology. So that's awesome. I love that you shared. Like we communicated. We all came up with this. It's. Did you decide that on Christmas Eve? Oh, by the way, I didn't give you a present because we let's change the plan quick. Or when did you have that conversation with your family to say we're not doing adult presents?
I can't even remember. We just had discussed it, I think, after Christmas and said, we're all adults, and if we need something, we can budget and get it ourselves, and just take that stress out of trying to figure out what am I going to get for people as adults. It's too hard anyway. And we just like sharing the meal on the holiday and spending time with each other as opposed to the gift giving.
Excellent. Yeah, other ways of demonstrating our love than just a gift. Yeah. And here's a $20 bill, and you give me a $20 bill. All right, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a gift card. We'll trade gift cards.
Yeah, but I think
excellent. Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
I think it goes even a step further than that. We don't buy extravagant even for the kids, but here's what we have been, because we've been kind of frugal with our limited funds, and I'm a recovering addict with 46 years of recovery from my addiction, so I didn't start this process at an early age. This happened later in my life when I decided how to save some money. But what we try to do, like my granddaughter was pregnant, she wasn't married, she couldn't pay her rent, etc. So for about 6 months while she was pregnant, get ready to have a baby, we were able to pay her rent, pay her utilities, and all that stuff as a gift. Now, that wasn't a Christmas present, and it was much more than I would spend on a Christmas present, and it blew our budget to hell a little bit. we had to dip into our savings, but that's what we had the savings for. So again, I'm not saying I got any of this figured out. I'm just saying that that's kind of our approach to the whole marketing schemes for holidays, is that they make it. I try to be nice to my family all day, all through the year, not just holidays. So again, but I don't have it figured out. I'm not a,
No,
so I don't
it's a
want to
great.
pump. Oh, I'm great, but I'm sorry if it comes across that way. I don't mean to.
No,
I don't
no.
mean to sound like
Well,
that.
we just wanted her to have a healthy baby, and she was in
Sure.
a position where she was stressing out, and it's
Right.
going to affect the baby.
She was
Yeah.
stressed out. My daughter was stressed. Everybody was stressing out. And thank
Yeah.
God we were in a position that we could say, you know what,
Yeah.
we'll help you out. But we didn't send her a Christmas present that year either.
Or after
For the next 7 years.
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, the baseball bat would have been cheaper, right?
Oh, I got to it. I'm not buying the baseball bat. He'll either
Yeah.
get one out of the bag or he won't never make the base.
Maybe when
Sure.
he's in college and he looks like he's going.
I'm not buying anybody a $700 baseball bat.
That's right. But talk about that's a great blessing of being, again, baby step 7, living and giving like nobody else and being a blessing to other people. And okay, so we had you talked to family. We're not going to do adult presents. Nobody took you out of their will, I'm hoping, right?
No.
The family relationships are still intact. So we set those boundaries, we communicate them, we tell people, you know what? What if this year, what if next year, whenever you have this conversation, what if we skip the sibling presents? Sometimes with large families, that can be overwhelming when you think, okay, my sister, my nieces, my nephews, my blah, 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 blah. I have, for Thanksgiving, we had 36 people over, and that wasn't even all our family. It's like, holy smokes, don't make me buy presents for 36 people. Even our children, right? Here's a boundary. This is how we were raised growing up. We do it. We continue this tradition with my family, my kids, is we draw sibling names. It's not everybody gets a present for everybody. I've got 5 kids. So if everybody has to buy 5, I mean, that's a lot of stuff. And these kids don't all have jobs. So who ends up paying for it all, right? So one gift, you pick a name, that's your buddy, your secret buddy, and you think about it all month long and you buy your buddy a present. There's a budget, small, appropriate budget for our family, and say, okay, you stay under this limit, and we're going to have a great Christmas.
Even David,
All right.
even the side of the financial piece and the burden that's on us, I would say that most of the people that we talk to that were, our children and people that we're close to said, hey, look, we're not buying gifts this year. Just forget it. Are relieved because they're so stressed out about all these stuff they've got to do for everybody else that just makes a tremendous deal. And Christmas is a big deal, but not for the idea of giving somebody a gift. But they actually appreciate that and end up rather be at our house for Christmas when it's not all the big deal with the presents, but just to sit down and and communicate and talk and share some food. So I think most people in the world are stressed out of their mind, especially on the holidays, and we help take some of that stress off. And mainly we did it for ourselves, but there's some residual value for people that we love.
Excellent. Yeah, it's gift of time, a gift of a meal, a gift of a phone call. In our local congregation, we've been talking about, who can we help? And there's families in our congregation that they have little kids, and okay, there might be a financial need there, but what about the elderly? Or this man he lost his eyesight, he can't drive, he can't leave the house. So he doesn't need a toy, he doesn't need a gift, he needs somebody to sit with him and just say, tell me about your story. And let me walk this road a little bit with you and strengthen those feeble needs and lift up the hearts, the hands that hang down. So this is a great time that it doesn't have to be just presents. It doesn't have to come in an envelope. What's the Grinch's line, right? It doesn't have to have packages or bows or ribbons or whatever that line is. That it's maybe Christmas is a little bit more than just comes in a box. All right, others, what other thoughts and best practices have you all found with managing your budget, staying within the budget, alternatives to gifts and things? How do you manage the stress this month?
For me, with me being a teacher, I find that when I don't have to go to work, I don't like feel tempted to go to the store. So I just stay at home during this time of the year, especially when I'm not traveling. That prevents me from just, after work, I'm gonna go here, just stay at home.
Yeah.
And then for gift wise, for the past few years, I've given my parents like making videos with pictures and like me singing on like a YouTube video, and they
That's awesome.
enjoy that because,
Yeah,
it's something more
yeah.
meaningful than just buying whatever was on sale or what I think they would like that year.
I love that. Yes, talk about a personalized gift. The gift of me, my time. I've made a movie of myself, and then it's those. My stepson is so he loves family history, and they'll pull out the old videos, home videos of his mom when she was in high school and singing in the choir, doing things, and it's just fun that he just it's just so memorable. It doesn't have to be a box. I'll ask my kids sometimes, like, "What'd you get last year?" I don't remember. That's it. We're not going to do presents anymore. We're going to do a trip. We're going to have experiences because those experiences might be more memorable than I got some box, something I don't remember. Thank you. All right. What else? Other ideas, best practices. How do you manage to reduce the stress? How do you stay in your budget?
Really monitoring. I think you have to stay in your budget, but really monitoring. Go on to your spreadsheet, look at it every single day and see what you spent. That's the best way I could say.
Awesome. Love it, Kim. Yeah. Monitoring it. Just watch it. You got to watch because every day money is slipping through my fingers. And so if I'm not watching it, you get to the end of the month and you blew through it a long time ago. That often happens with people as they're beginning to learn how to master their budget. Is they're like, yeah, I eat out a lot. Okay, how much? I don't know, a lot. And then we start tracking it. And literally had a client, yeah, they tracked it and it was $1,600 a month just in eating out. Like, wow, you know, it was that bad. But then with awareness, now they can start changing it. And they went from 400 a week to 160 a week. Man, they were making a great progress. And wow, they can put all that money towards their goals. So monitoring it is key. Awareness is painful, but you got to do it, right? Because the pain is like, yeah, wow, this is worse than I thought, or maybe it's better than you thought, right? You never know. Awareness, you got to start with that. All right. Any final before I move on? Any other final trip tips or tricks or best practices to help with this month? Talking to one other client last night, and she had a great long list. It was awesome, and I was hoping she would be here tonight. And she just talked about her and her husband are united. They're playing defense from the marketing and watching and like, okay, we're going to ignore that. We're not doing that. We're not going shopping. We're going to stay home, as was mentioned, right? We don't spend. We're all these little tips and tricks just to realize, okay, what are my weak spots? All right, I got to watch the eating out. All right, I got to watch the whatever. These little gifts, they'll add up over time. They just all snowball into an avalanche, and it'll knock you off your path. So be careful. All right. So here's a thought. Remember to focus on the principles and not the preferences. My grandpa was a superintendent of schools in California when I was growing up. And he was famous in my family for coining this phrase for us that we are firm with our principles and we are flexible with our preferences. So, what's the difference between principles and preferences? How would you describe a principle? Sometimes people have said, well, it's something it's a value. It's something that guides my decision. It's part of our family culture. Our principle is that we do certain things on certain days that we don't do on other days. Or maybe Sunday is a special day for my family, and so we have a principle. We do these things. Or maybe the principle is that there will be food on the table. There's a principle. But the preference, on the other hand, is our likes, our tastes, our wants. And so there might be food on the table, but it might be beans and rice, or it might
Mhm.
be filet mignon, might be lobster, and who knows what, right? That's a preference. Here's a principle in my family. We will have fun experiences together. Now, the preference might be to go to Hawaii, or it might be to let's go to the park and play frisbee. The goal, the principle will be met. We will have a fun activity. One of those is free, and one of those will cost a lot. Nothing wrong with either one of them. I can have anything I want, but I just can't have everything I want. So watch your preferences this month, and the world will try to convince you that your preferences are all needs and you got to have them all right now. And one click and it can be there at your door. Have a comment in the chat that says what we believe and stand by versus what we would like to have or what we want. Excellent. Those are the principles or what we believe and we stand by it. I am firm. I don't budge on this stuff. Preferences, yeah, that's right. It's blue, it's green, it's red, whatever. I can adjust my preferences. I'm flexible there. All right. So here's your homework this month. So you can come and back and return and report next month when you come to the group coaching session as well. Is that your homework is to get organized and create a budget. If you've already got one, review it. Make sure that you are sticking with it. Because even a little bit, I was doing this earlier today. I was looking, okay, how much have I spent on each kid? I have a budget for each kid, and this is only a little bit over. Okay, this is only a little bit over. And then after it, at the end, you're like, man, I'm way over my budget. Where I got to stay organized, watch those boundaries, be aware, and track it. Get an accountability partner to help each other stick to the budget. Could be a friend, a family, maybe somebody you're sitting next to. Nudge, nudge. This is you. You're my accountability partner. It's all on you. The success of the family rests solely on your shoulders. No, it's a teamwork. It's a team sport. And when you talk to others, you enlist their help and you get to be an influence for good on their life. So if you have a spouse, a partner, you have one nominated right there. You got an accountability partner. If not, you got a friend, you got a family member, you got me, you got your coach, and to share your goals, and they can help encourage you when things are tight or when you're feeling low, like I'm just down, and I think spending some money is going to fix that hole in my heart. Identify your principles and know your preferences. Be a little more flexible maybe this month with your preferences. I would prefer a $750 bet. Well, I prefer a $10 bet.
There you go. Yeah,
The principle is you'll have a bet.
Yep.
Maybe. Or maybe my principle is I will show love through time and through attention and love, and I don't give gifts to every generation, right? You got a lot of generations. You gotta that could be in line, saying, hey, well, what about me? That's a lot of people.
Too many.
Each family gets to make their own decisions. Even if I was raised this way, my family, when I do my own, right, we all get to make our own decisions. We get to create our own culture and pick your own principles. It may be different than the heritage that you grew up in, and that's okay. We're going to be flexible with our preferences and remember the true meaning of the season. And as we began, we will end, celebrate. That is one of the most important things to do this month is to celebrate your loved ones, your friends, your family, all the great things that you experience in your life. This world is a world of abundance. I was met with my coaching team earlier today, and we had a guest speaker, and he was talking all about just the miracles that are happening in today's world. There's books. Super Abundance was a book that he had mentioned, just talking about all the good things. I mean, we've never had more literacy in the world, more peace in the world, more prosperity in the world. The news wants to convince us that it's a scary, terrible place because bad headlines sell newspapers. They get your clicking. I've heard it said by the chief technology officer of a Fortune 500 company. He said that social media is designed to make you angry because anger will make you share and click more than good feelings. You share bad news more than you share good news. So be careful with what you look at, what you watch, listen to this season, right? Celebrate the good things. There are so many good things. There's always something to be grateful for. There's always positivity. You just have to find it. It's not toxic positivity. It's not being Pollyanna, but it is just recognizing, you know what? I got a body, I got a healthy, I can see, I can hear, I can taste, I got friends, I got family, I got a roof over my head. Even when times are tough. I myself have had what I call, we had a longer period, I would tell you more about it, but I have my Job-like years. Had a few years that I felt a lot like Job. Thank goodness I didn't have the boils, but it kind of I was waiting for them. and I had everything else happening in my life. That was my Job moments, but there were still things to be grateful for and to celebrate. And that's how we can dig ourselves out and progress. So, any final thoughts, questions, comments about anything that we've talked about, or any questions? I want to open the mic. We can talk about what we talked about tonight, or if you have a question about anything in the baby steps or in your own personal finances, I want to make sure that we're answering your one-on-one questions that you may have. So, does anybody have any questions about anything or comments that they'd like to bring up?
Typically, around what time each month should a budget be created for the next month?
Very good question. So, when do we make the budget? When do I make the January budget? When do I make the December budget? Okay, good question. The recommendation that it is written, not in my head, it's written before the month starts. So the last day of the month, first day of the month, right? We just don't want to get into, oh, it's the 12th. I guess we should probably figure out this budget thing. And then you realize I blew through my budget 5 days ago. Whoops. What was that stop sign again? I didn't see that, officer. Where there was a stop sign back there? Oh, didn't even know. So you got to be intentional. So do it. It's this magic moment where we look in the back, we look in the past, because how do I know what to set my budget? That's a great question. Because often people don't know what to set for their budget. Well, look in the past and let history influence the future. Now, don't do just a copy and a paste or a photocopy of last month's budget because every month is different. Just because you spent this last one doesn't mean you're going to spend it the next month, right? Gifts this month is not going to be the same budget as next month. But I'm going to look at the past and I'm going to forecast the future, look in my crystal ball and say, what's going to happen in January? Oh, is this the year I joined the gym? Okay, maybe I add that as a line item. Is this I'm looking ahead? Oh yeah, this is the year I need to re-register my cars. Oh, I got to do that registration thing. There's an irregular bill. It wasn't on last month's budget. It needs to be on next month's budget. I'm looking ahead, I'm looking behind, and I create my path. And I can adjust that every week as I track my expenses and I know what's going on. I can make adjustments along the way. Again, don't write them in pen. You can adjust. It's okay. Does that help? Does that help answer that?
Yes, thank you.
You bet. Great question. Thank you for asking. What other questions, comments, needs? How can I help you? The follow-up of that, as you're thinking of questions or needs or anything I can do to help you. Budgeting, it doesn't really matter how you do it. Some people do it on a piece of paper and a calendar. I've got clients that literally will do it on a notebook and they hold up like, here's my budget. Can you read that? No, I got to zoom in. All right. There's apps, right? Every Dollar, Dave Ramsey's budget app tool. There's Excel. There's YNAB is another app where you need a budget. It stands for Monarch Money. There's Quicken Simplify. There's Rocket Money. All my clients use whatever. They find the one that works for them. It doesn't matter. People ask, well, what's the magic app that's going to make all the difference? The application is the magic, not the app. It's living it. Information will only get you so far. Apps and and spreadsheets and all that stuff, those are all nice. They're tools. But if you don't use the tool, you don't apply it, you'll never get to transformation. Information leads to application. Application consistently applied over time leads to transformation. That's where we're trying to help you to get to is we are transformational coaches. So you got to live it. So I've got Excel spreadsheets again in the resources on my website. They're free. Or talk with your coach or go to Every Dollar or YNAB or Monarch or whatever. You just got to live it. Some of the digital tools are nice because you can just jump around and you can do it electronically. If you're a paper and a pencil kind of person or an Excel, great. Look at the past, plan for the future. All right, other questions, needs, concerns? What can I do to help? Is anybody struggling with any of the baby steps that we can give you some help and encouragement? You're all having a great expert experience. That's good. Then I'm going to make you can present the next month's session, right? You can share your best practices. One of the best ways, I say that jokingly, but one of the best ways to learn it is to teach it. So share what you know, share what you're learning, and share it with somebody. Say, hey, I was just on this group webinar, financial webinar the other night, and we talked about budgets and boundaries and communication and not buying stuff, and it was helpful. Then you can share it, and it reinforces it to you, and then it blesses the life of somebody else.
Well, I
In the
promise you, we have a friend that I'm going to share this with. We have not entered into this we just, again, I have a friend that really needs to be here. Him and his significant other, they're making tremendous money and they're just in a mess. But that's what I'll share with it.
Excellent. Yeah, send them to my YouTube channel. This will be posted probably tomorrow. They can watch the recording. We do free consultations. So if you have friends and family and neighbors and coworkers and people are stressed out about money,
Yeah.
it's the number one source of stress in a relationship. It's the number one reason for divorce. So people, your friends, your family, your neighbors are struggling. I see it because I've been doing this for so long. I know everybody carries their own silent pain, and it has nothing to do with how it looks on the outside, and it has nothing to do with your income.
Yeah.
Because you can look and say, "Man, that guy's got it all together. And look at all that they drive and they live and they wear and they portray." And I literally had a financial advisor. He was one of my clients. He was a financial advisor, and he said, I learned that I couldn't solve my problems with income because I now make $400,000 a year and I'm still broke and I have nothing to show for it. It's not about income. It's about management. It's about organization and boundaries and living the principles. I've got clients that make $30,000 a year and I've got clients that make $300,000 a year and they both need the same principles.
Yeah.
So hopefully this is yeah,
I
go ahead.
want to say, I think no is a key word.
Yes.
No to self and no to
Oh,
others. And
yes.
I think sometimes like we have neighbors that always bring us like a little something they put together for Christmas. Last year she made homemade vanilla and brought it over. And we don't we haven't done anything like that on Christmas, but they always do. And it's not taking on that guilt because somebody else did. Like, so through the year, if they go away, we watch their house for them.
Cut their grass, shoveled their driveway. I do it all the time.
Yeah. So I think not feeling guilty because someone gave you something.
Right.
There's again, it goes back to there's other moments in time and through the year to do something kind for someone that you care about.
Excellent. Yeah. Don't feel the guilt of reciprocation.
No.
They gave me a gift, so scramble and I got to now give them a gift. But you can be a gracious receiver and say, wow, thank you so much. We really appreciate your friendship and being neighbors and working together or whatever the relationship basis might be. Thank you so much. This is so thoughtful of you. There's no guilt of, oh, wait, let me grab something out of the junk drawer. Here you go. White elephant gifts.
And people always feel that guilt though. I see it all the time. It's like,
absolutely.
Stop.
Yeah. That I think that's a perfect note to end on is learning to say no. And the most important one is say no to ourselves. And that is so hard. There's a lesson in and of itself. That's a bumper sticker is learn to say no to myself because I want it and I deserve it because it's a hard day and I'm stressed and I deserve it because I'm an adult. Watch this. I'm going to prove my adulthood. Swipe.
Yeah.
And then the regret.
I want that $10 Starbucks coffee.
And it adds up every day, that $10. And over time, you do the math and it's surprising. That's thousands of dollars. And then you say, I could have invested that and it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for coming. Thank you for participating. Thanks for going a few minutes over. In the chat, if you click the chat window before we close, in the chat window are a couple of links that are there. The first one is it'll take you to my YouTube channel. That's where you can see the past group sessions or some of my shorts, just trying to help you break out of your comfort zones, learn to say no, learn to set boundaries, all those things. So you're welcome to subscribe to that YouTube channel, share it with friends and family. The next one is please leave me a review on my website. That's on a Google review. That helps other people to feel the inspiration of your story, that they can do it too. Nobody's perfect. We're all walking our own path. We're all at different stages. So when you leave a review and help other people know, because people are looking for help and they don't like, who the heck is this Brian guy and who's this Dinwiddie Consulting? Yeah, he's a Ramsey coach, but what are they really going to help me? Is this really going to make a difference in my life? And you sharing your story can inspire somebody to make a change. So we love those 5-star reviews. And then also you're welcome to share that site. Again, those resources, share it with a friend, a family, neighbor, anybody, people that you know that could be, we can be a blessing to. We love to give free consultations just to meet new people and help them and help them make progress along their path. So anyway, if I can be of any
Thanks,
help
Brian.
to you, you're very welcome. Thank you for being here. Don't
Thank
forget to sign up
you.
for the next month, the same website that you used to find this one. Go back to that and sign up for the January group coaching session. We will be moving it from Thursday nights to Wednesday nights in the new year, the new 2025. We're moving some logistics around. So Wednesday night, same time. But look forward to seeing you again in the new year. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Have a wonderful and safe new year. And I look
All
forward to
right.
seeing you again
Same
soon.
to you.
You too.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Bye.